What is up, the Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is a Friday, party, fun. Hashtag, if you know, use the hashtag. It's funny because it don't seem like really anybody knows that one. I do it almost every Friday, and nobody knows that one. So shout out if you know, use the hashtag. But that is neither here nor there. One thing's for certain and three things are for sure when you see me front your TV. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, how, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very easy. Simple. I'll tell you. You know I don't keep it from you. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And once you've done those three things in any order you've done them in, you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since sharing is caring, once you've shared this with your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, your cousin, your uncle, your brother, your father, your sister, your mother, your father, your sister, you name it, you have indeed cared about these people. What up to everybody in the chat? What up to Tactical Sport? What up to Zach J? What up to everybody else? If you're lurking, and you're twerking and you're smirking, anything else you're doing while you're lurking, I don't really want to know. Just keep it to yourself. If it rhymes with smirking, I almost said the smirking and twerking, keep it to yourself. Hell no, Karen, keep your bland ass potato salad to yourself. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. We got some things that we're going to get into today, man. Obviously, it is the off season. The news slows down. The rumor mill slows down. But we got a spicy, hot potato. And it ain't great. That's the thing. It is not great. We all know Maxx Crosby has been the subject of much conversation. Now, let me put into context what we've heard from Maxx Crosby's new head coach for the moment, Klint Kubiak. Klint Kubiak had said all the coach speak, which I told you that's what it was. And he said he was excited to work with Max, and he was excited to continue to have these conversations and these meetings with him and to go forward and blah, 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 blah. Of course, he's excited, is Klint Kubiak. Every new coach is excited to go and meet the star player of the team. And every new coach is excited to continue working with the star player of the team. But that doesn't mean he's going to get an opportunity. And to put it into context, we heard what Group Pretzel said yesterday about working with David Montgomery, about being able to use him in this, that, and the third thing, so on and so forth and so on. However, Dave Birkett said, not so fast, my friend. Dave Birkett, he was doing an interview yesterday, or this morning, I should say, with Woodward Sports. That morning show is something else. I tell you what, it's something else. But he did it. And shout out to my boy KG. Shout out to JB. He said he didn't take those comments to really mean that David Montgomery is still going to be here. He said if he had a bet, he would tell you that David Montgomery is most likely going to be playing elsewhere this coming season, because he is an every down back and he does want to be a feature back somewhere else on some other team. So while everyone was thinking that means David he's all in and he's coming back and he can't wait to work with Jameer, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is a dog and that's his brother and he loves him, Dave Birkett thinks he's on his way out. Okay. Now, why should we care what Dave Birkett thinks? Because he's a reporter that covers the team. And when reporters cover teams, they get sources. and they are privy to certain conversations that go on behind closed doors, certain conversations that go on under the condition of anonymity. Just like the anonymous GM that told you that Max Crosby told Tom Brady he never play for the Raiders again. He's played his last snap. So those things go on that way. So that's why I said with Clint Kubiak coming in, he just had coach speak. That's all he can talk. Of course, he's excited. Of course, he wants to work with Max Crosby. Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you want to do that? That might have been a selling point of him taking the job, which probably wasn't, right? He's an offensive guy, but to have a guy like Max Crosby on the other side, holding down the defense for years to come. Hey, he took a shot. He just won a Super Bowl. So now he got a head coaching job. It's coach speak. What up, though, Brent DeWitt? Chadwick Boseman was correct. Hell no, Kevin. Keep your bland ass potato salad to yourself. That was Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa on Saturday Night Live Jeopardy. Don, you can skip this comment. Oh, okay. I'll skip it. All right. All right. Burkett's also a hack, always has been. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you that Dave Burkett's word is law. Hold on. There is an exception. Okay, that was a spam call. I'm not going to tell you that Dave Burkett's word is law. However, he does have, access to certain conversations. What up to Irv Gotti? All right. So now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of what I'm talking about. NFL Insider. This is from the Sporting News. Links Eagles to Max Crosby in potential blockbuster trade. Of course he links the Eagles, because why wouldn't he link the Eagles? The Eagles are linked to everything, are they not? Okay, I was about to say I can't really move the page. This is wild. Okay, there we go. I had to reload the page for some reason. All right. The Las Vegas Raiders have a Max Crosby problem. That's good news for the Philadelphia Eagles. Always on the hunt for the big trade acquisition, Eagles general manager Howie Roseman just might be putting a package together to dangle in front of the Raiders in an attempt to acquire one of the league's top pass rushers. Roseman did it with Micah Parsons last year. Why not with Crosby? NFL Insider links the Eagles to the Raiders star. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo seems confident that the Crosby era in Las Vegas has run its course. Considering teams that could get involved, Garafolo boldly predicts the Eagles could be near the front of the line of Crosby's list of suitors. I would certainly put the Eagles in the top 3, 5, whatever teams for Max Crosby if and when this thing opens up. Garofalo said on the Anthony Gargano show on Friday, I do believe it's going to open up. Crosby recently addressed rumors regarding his status with the Raiders. Recent reports suggested that he is done with the franchise. The veteran pass rusher claims it's simply people throwing gasoline on the fire, but nobody can deny that the fire doesn't exist in this scenario. Similar to the Eagles' A.J. Brown situation, many around the league seem to believe that Crosby is going to be one of the most prominent names on the trade market, whether he's asking for a change of scenery or not. Since the Eagles love beefing up their defensive line, Crosby is a strong contender to be a logical acquisition for Vic Fangio's defense. Last season, Crosby appeared in 15 games for the Raiders. He generated 10 sacks and 73 tackles for the 5th year in a row. He was named an NFL Pro Bowler 7 seasons in. Crosby has appeared in 110 games. He's averaging 10.7 sacks per season, along with 68 tackles. Here's my thoughts. Tactical Sports says, I wouldn't doubt it. I fully expect someone like the Eagles or the Rams to get him. Also a team that doesn't make any sense like the Browns. Well, it's funny you should say that. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. The Browns have been in some odds to get Max Crosby. Here's my thoughts. The Detroit Lions, with potential restructures, will clear $136 million in cap space. They're $8 million over the cap right now. If they do all the restructures that they can, there'll be $126 million under the cap. If you are $126 million under the cap, and Max Crosby has $30 million guaranteed remaining, he's got $30 million remaining in guarantees. At some point in time, because if you've got $30 million in guarantees remaining, that all you have to do is put $30 million into escrow. That's it. You have to put the guaranteed amount into escrow. If you're telling me you're gonna, he's still got 3 years and 97 million remaining, that's fine, because only 30 million of that is guaranteed. And that's the part that has to be in escrow. That's the part that you can't touch. That's the part that has to sit in the account. $30 million. If you have $126 million in cap space, and you got it by simply, and I've told everybody how restructures work and all this other stuff. I've done that. But you take you take salary, base salary, you turn base salary into signing bonus. You give signing bonus to player immediately, and you prorate it and you spread the rest of it across the balance of the contract and the void years. If you don't get Max Crosby, and Max Crosby goes and plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, and in this Philadelphia Eagles trade scenario, the trade package that they give them, I see a 3rd round pick, I'm going to crash out. If I see a 3rd round pick from this year, I'm going to crash out. I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand one thing. And it may be a little bit of an overreaction because we don't know what's going to happen. We haven't seen anything happen yet. But the one thing that I need to understand, and if someone can help me understand it, that would be awesome. But you're probably as confused as I am. There's 32 NFL teams, right? And each one of those teams is gunning for the Super Bowl every single year. And in the trade market, a team that has a player like the Las Vegas Raiders have Max Crosby, and they can let him go, and they will receive compensation, and that compensation that they receive is looked at as something that's going to help them to get better as a team, something that's going to improve their odds, even though their odds took a big hit because they traded away such a dynamic player, just like the Cowboys did with Micah Parsons. At some point, you gotta sit at the big boy table. We can't keep penny pinching, bro. We can't keep penny pinching and never being involved in these trades. I told you, some of these trades are so shocking and surprising. I don't believe that Max Crosby is going to go for a third and a fourth. That's crazy. I don't believe that in a million years. But a lot of these trades in the NFL go for such small compensation, and you're like, wow, why couldn't we have done that? And I'm tired of sitting here looking at other people, aka the Eagles, aka Howie Roseman, run circles around us in terms of talent acquisition. And they run circles around us in terms of talent acquisition, which then means that they can run circles around us on the field. If the Eagles and Howie Roseman obtain the services of one Max Crosby, I'm gonna crash out. There's not gonna be an excuse. Are you gonna say he wasn't a culture fit? Are you gonna say you didn't have the money? What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? I don't know. You sure you don't want to go to the Jets? I don't think so. The Lions won't get him because Melvin. The Lions will sign Davenport. I swear to God, if the Lions re-sign Marcus Davenport, I will lose all faith in this regime. If they re-sign Marcus Davenport, I will lose all faith in this regime, because what does that even mean? What do you mean you're re-signing Marcus Davenport? What do you mean? Well, I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. I don't understand the language. Is that English? It's some trolling language that they spoke in the olden days that I don't understand. It's the language of the troll. The tongue is silver and it's forked too. I don't get it. I don't get it. Watch Las Vegas trade him to the Jets for their first round pick, and Las Vegas gets pick 1 and 2. I wouldn't do that. Why does this restructure sound so simple, but to Brad, it's difficult? Well, here's the thing. When you restructure a player, you are kicking the can down the road, right? And you do need to be careful about restructuring players, because there is a void year situation where you're going to be dealing with the dead money from the player once they're no longer on this team. right? I think it took DJ Chark like 3 years to get off our books or something like that because we were still paying him. Or we were still taking care of that dead cap money. Okay. So yeah. There is that only little smidgen of a downfall, but it should be able to be done. It shouldn't be an issue. Let me grab this. Whew. You ever have too much sleep and then you be sleepy? But for a player, it's easy to approach a player and ask for a restructure because you get the money right up front. So appreciate you, Mr. Detroit City. Brad finds a lot of things difficult, like doing a routine physical before giving someone 86 million. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Scratch and dent aisle, Brad. LOL. he shops at the reject shop. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Lions won't sniff a Super Bowl until we get rid of Melvin. That may be the case. Only 10 teams with legit chances, though. We all Flatwood out. Would love Max, but we don't do it. Gurr and agree with Davenport outlook. No way. Howie Roseman may go get Max Crosby. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. It doesn't make sense, bro. You're competing with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know their GM is aggressive. You have to be aggressive as well. Because they're about to get rid of AJ Brown. So the cancer in the locker room and all the distractions and stuff that he brings, he's going to be someone else's problem. And he's not really going to go for that much. I think he might go for a third or a fourth. I think they're just going to get what they can get for him and move on. If they do anything. I look. You got to get it done, man. I just don't understand. I don't. You got to get it done. You have to. You have to do other things. You can't keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over again. I keep talking about the definition of insanity because it is insane. It is the exact definition of insanity. You just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and hope for different results. You can't keep drafting injured players. You can't keep signing injured players. You can't keep using draft picks in the third round to go draft nobodies who were never going to get drafted anyway. You can't keep doing that and expect anything different to happen. Howie Roseman is always aggressive. But then, as we know about these general managers, this situation in itself may not be solely 100% on Melvin. We do not know what kind of pocketbook is open to him, right? We saw Dan Campbell getting excited about drafting Broderick Martin, and we were told by Melvin, Bradley, Matthias, Ignatius, Sequarius, Sargentino, Vladimir, Smirnoff, Gucci Holmes, that both he and Dan Campbell had this affinity for Broderick Martin. Both of them. So this is why I say I am not going to put 100% of the blame on Melvin. I know that's a popular thing to do. But don't you think that if he could spend all the money that Sheila has, he would spend all the money that Sheila has? I kind of feel like he would. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Knowing what we know about now about Max and what Max possibly wants, what package does Brad need to offer? I mean, you can offer a first and a player. I mean, first and a Lee McNeil. You know, the policy about trading injured players is pretty. I don't think you can trade injured players. So, for those of you that were asking about Brian Branch, I think that's safe. But yeah, I mean, you can't say a first and a third. I don't have any thirds unless they're willing to wait until 2028. A first and a 2028 third, crazy. We need dogs on defense, definitely. Our defense needs to look like Seattle Seahawks and Houston Texans, having good front four, solid LBs, and above average secondary. The problem with what you're asking for is that we have to be willing to change our scheme and we have to be willing to change our philosophy. Again, the Lions are just, it seems to me that the Lions are just behind the curve. And every time, or the curve, and every time there's a new wave of something, the Lions aren't the first ones to get in, right? The Lions, they just have to do different things, bro. They just have to do different things. You look at the Lions being one of the only teams, if not the only team, that still deploys 3 linebackers at the same time. And they can't just find a big nickel that can come down and crack and run support, but also can cover tight ends and drop back deeper into coverage and do so on and so forth. I mean, when the rest of the league is zigging, the Lions are zagging. I just don't know, man. I don't know. He probably would need to offer 2 firsts, a fourth, and a player like McNeil. The problem is he won't do it. I don't care about 2 firsts because this year for your first round pick, with the 17th pick of the 2026 NFL draft, the Detroit Lions select Max Crosby, edge, Las Vegas. So it doesn't matter to me. You're picking, you're taking a first round pick on someone who's not established, who's supposed to be can't miss. Abdul Carter. Cheeks for his rookie season, but it was his rookie season. So I'm not going to judge the man I'm not going to judge him off of his rookie season. But if you draft Max Crosby, you already know what you're getting. There's no guesstimating. There's no, oh, I hope he works out. I hope he play. No. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But do I give up that package? I mean, the only deal breaker for me is the way that I'm talking is the fourth rounder because it's too many picks, but it's a fourth rounder. Who cares? Give it up. You know, give it up. We need to shake up our front four. Well, we've needed to do that for years. If they want a Parsons type deal, you give them a Parsons type deal. I don't have any problem with it because you got to get something in here, man. You got to get something happening. That's what I was just saying. It's not working at all. It's not working. We play the most man coverage of. See, here's the thing. We play the most man coverage of any team in the NFL. And when you play man coverage, you have to have man cover corners. Amik Robertson can do it in spurts. He's not able to do it for, an entire game or an entire stretch of games. DJ Reed, I don't think is a man cover corner. I mean, how many times did y'all look at DJ Reed and someone was catching a ball and you saw, you know what I'm saying? How many times did you see that? He's in full sprinter stand, trying to catch the dude who just burned. You know? He just put the head back. Oh. You see the arms pumping. That's not man cover corner stuff. So we don't have the personnel. The only man cover corner that I would have any faith in at this point in time is Terrion Arnold because he does have the skill set. He does have the technique and the ability. He was cutting down on his illegal use of hands and holding, defensive holding and pass interference. He was cutting down on that stuff. Then he got hurt. Okay. But largely we don't have the corners to do it. And then when somebody gets hurt, which is inevitable, instead of moving to a different scheme, to more zone heavy so that everyone is looking at the quarterback. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking at the quarterback and keeping things in front of them. This is how you get more turnovers because it's harder to get interceptions in man, right? You see tip passes and then you've got people in the zone near there that can run up underneath that thing, dive and roll, tuck and roll, whatever the case may be. They can do it because they're in position. Now, everyone is a assistant manager or whatever. So you're looking at, I don't even know why I said assistant manager. Now, someone gets hurt, you're still going heavy man, and you're expecting Millette to cover AJ Brown. You're expecting Hallett to cover Justin Jefferson. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So yes, our scheme definitely needs to change. It's archaic. I don't know why we are so stuck in the past. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? Max is hurt though too. Nothing going to get done till June at the earliest. He was disputing the fact that he was hurt. So yeah, but he's gonna be 100% ready for the season. So I think it's a little bit different. What up though? Why does Mad Max have on an Eagles jersey? Because Howie Roseman seems to be in working on a deal. He's working on a package. You know? Can't play man when all corners are hurt. You cannot. You cannot do that. What up though? Precision staining. No safeties either. That's correct. We shouldn't be playing man. Yeah, that's why I said he can do it in spurts. He's not your number one guy that you want out there. The real problem with us playing man coverage is the offense knows we are in man coverage. You have to keep the offense honest. Right. There is no okay. When we're about to play an opponent, and then they have their offensive meetings. They go, "Oh, okay, this is easy, guys. We're not gonna, take too much. It's just gonna be man beaters. Our whole offensive game plan from a passing perspective is gonna be man beaters. Now if you want to go on the running side of things, how do we keep the run game off balance? This, that, and the third thing. That might take a little bit more time, but you just go, okay, pass game, man beaters. All right. We got package 5, 8, 15, 35, 76. Those are our packages full of man beaters. We'll take 4 or 5 packages, we'll put them in, and we'll carve this secondary up. Because you ain't got to do nothing else. All another team has to do is run a bunch of men. There you go. And that would be pretty much out scheme our defense. Facts. Terrion Arnold needs to get to the next level, play at CB. I heard someone say we need to put him at safety. He was a safety in high school. He could play that dynamic nickel position, but if he plays that dynamic nickel position, then who else we got? Nobody dares say anything about Ennis Rakestraw. That guy, we've seen him more in a hospital gown than we've seen him on the field. So that creates another set of problems. Look at the Seahawks defense. They will send a cornerback with the motion man and still be in zone defense. We don't have a defensive coordinator that can do that. Innovation is just like they stop innovation at the offensive coordinator's door. That's it. They're like, okay, innovation here. We got an appointment with Osama bin Johnson. Okay, cool. Innovation comes in, sits down with Osama bin Johnson. They have a good old conversation. They laugh, they joke, They have a meal together. And innovation decides, hey man, I'll take this job because Osama bin Johnson offered him the job. When innovation comes to our defense, they're like, nah, it's cool. We don't want none. It's cool. We don't want none. Look, they treat innovation on the defensive side of the football like you treat Jehovah's Witness. You know what I'm saying? Not going to do it. Can I tell you about the Lord, brother? No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Slam that thing in your face. That's how our defense looks at innovation. I don't understand it. The NFL is a copycat league. So copy some cats, bro. If you can't do it yourself, copy some cats. Fake it till you make it. My goodness. You got a hurt knee. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Jumps on trampoline. We still don't know who CB Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is. I don't know. Is he? That's why I said he's been in a hospital gown more than he's been on the field. What happened to Nick Whiteside? He was decent. Would you bring Iffy back at CB or would you move on? I would bring Iffy back at safety. You know what I would be doing. So if he's going to be cheap, because he left out of here and he went to Miami, I think for like $4 million per. I think if he was relatively healthy in Miami, I think Nick Whiteside, he got cut, or I don't know if he got claimed. I know Hallett got claimed off waivers. I don't know. I think you bring Iffy back at safety. You play Brian Branch at the nickel, and when they want to get your safety or when they want to get your nickel off the field, you just move Brian Branch back. He's done both now. I think he's versatile enough to move up and down. But that's just my 2 cents and my take on it. They felt that moving Brian Branch to the safety position full time would keep him on the field full time and not allow anybody to scheme him out of the game. And they couldn't figure out another way to do that. So that's what they did. The Seahawks also don't have a single player with over 10 sacks, and we have 2. Well, that's what Melvin said. I don't know. I don't know any other teams that got, two double-digit sack players like we do. I don't know. Okay, and how's that working out? Exactly. And this break a jaw. Yes, if he will be very cheap. Reed is just a little boy who has time to grow. He doesn't have time to grow. Isn't he in his 30s? If he can be a cheap safety back there, he can be. Mm-hmm. So he's not as bad as Ennis, but that was one thing that I did say. I said I think he stayed relatively healthy in Miami because they do things differently. So now if he comes back to Detroit, then he probably is not going to get a starting role. So I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. Yeah, Reed just needs to hit puberty. Give him time, man. LMAO. Oh my goodness, he needs to hit puberty. He hasn't hit it yet. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Again. Make sure you guys have checked this out. Go over there and sign up, themockmachine.com. Create an account for yourself. Invite your friends to create accounts. Invite your friends to play the GM mode with you. If you just want to do a regular draft against friends, you can. If you want to do the regular draft solo by yourself, you can. If you want to do the GM mode solo by yourself, you can. It doesn't have to be friends and family. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. But yeah, check it out. Tender Rakestraw has played in less games than Davenport. Tender Rakestraw. Lots of people want Rick Woolen. He will be too expensive. Um, how expensive will he be? You know what I'm saying? That's the point. How expensive will he be? Hopefully this weekend, what I will do is with the mock machine, I will update that page for understanding contracts. I think it's called NFL Contracts 101 or something like that. So I'll update that so that everyone is able to be able to understand like all of this fluff and all this. Oh, you're 8 million over the cap. This is a bunch of cap. It's cap. The NFL salary cap is not a hard cap. They try to act like it is, but it's not one. Yeah, and we have to restructure the deals. So that's not even something I worry about. The deals will be restructured before free agency starts. You know what I mean? You can't sit there with negative 8 million and then be choosing if you're going to restructure or not. No, you must. There's no there's no opportunity to do anything differently. You can't live that way. You have zero money. All right. Coming off a Super Bowl win, he might ask for a pretty penny or a shiny nickel. But will he get it? Also, I think a better defensive scheme would cover up some of the holes on defense. The fact that we didn't do anything to the defensive coaching staff really makes no sense to me. Brother, you and me both. I mean, Jim Schwartz was out there. Brian Flores was out there. Raheem Morris was out there. There were so many people better than Coach Shep available, and we didn't even take interviews. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jim Schwartz is he's not a forgiving man. So there was no way that Jim Schwartz was gonna want to come back here. But I mean, you throw the bag at him, Sheila. And then he comes back. You know? Go give him some money. You know? Just go give him some money. Yeah, but other than that, man, it's just that's really why I want y'all to play this GM mode, man. So y'all can come in and be like, I'm also gonna put in reports so you can save what you did on I think maybe I'll make it like a PDF or something, you know, just like a GM report. So when you finish playing it each session, you get your GM report and you can save it as a PDF or a Word document or something. And you can show people what you did. Like, okay, this is how I think the Lions should do this. We should restructure this. We should restructure that. We should sign this free agent. We should sign that free agent. We should go in the draft and we should, hit this position, that position, the third position. And that'll be it. So it's a much more immersive experience than just the regular mock draft situation. So that's why I want you guys to go ahead and check it out. All right. You know what time it is? It is mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right. Make sure you get those in. I'm going to be messing around with it for a few hours tomorrow. Let me know. Let me know what it looked like. Yeah, I mean, it should if everything is working, I mean, it should catch on pretty quickly. I'm gonna have some other creators using it on air, hopefully, just to get more users in there and make sure that it starts popping off. Because I'll be updating it throughout the off season. Especially when free agency happens and then people start, going off the board. I'll probably just do an update every day to be like, okay, update the free agent list. Now they're on the different rosters who, blah, 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 blah. There's supposed to be like a legal tampering period as well. Because in the GM mode. So you'll be able to legally tamper with people before free agency starts. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So final word on Max Crosby, Brad, and Howie Roseman. Just can't let that happen. Can't let it happen. Can you pick just the Lions when doing a draft? Yeah, you can pick your own team. The team that you control. If it's just you by yourself, you're controlling one team, and that should be it. If there's a glitch in there or a bug that, I had one in there that you could control, like you were doing the picks for the AI teams, and that shouldn't have been the case. So I think I fixed that bug, but if not, just let me know and I'll fix it. But yeah, everything is catered to you. Just if you want to do the GM mode, just Lions. If you want to do just the mock draft simulator, just Lions, you can do all that. You can pick whatever team that you want. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. But yeah, sometimes you got to play keep away, man. Sometimes you just got to play keep away, and I don't know. I don't know how you have to define aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Define aggressive. Because I don't really know what you mean. Why do we have to define it? Just go sign some people, man. You know what I'm saying? Trade for Max Crosby. Just do something. Put your nuts on the table, bro. Okay, I just can't see it. I will play around with it. Yeah, let me check. I'll make a note of it if it's not there. Be checking it out tonight. Appreciate you. Do you think that the Heat should be turned up on BH if he doesn't make any moves in the offseason? 100%. It's the same thing. It's the same exact offseason as last offseason then. If he doesn't make any moves we sat around and we watched the Vikings sign Javon Hargraves. We sat around and we watched the Packers trade for Micah Parsons. The Bears did some things to get better in the offseason. And it was like, they're gearing up to beat you because the back-to-back Kings of the North. And we just sat on our laurels or rested on our laurels and just thought, signing Roy Lopez and Grant Stewart, brother. I saw a tweet from Sleeper, the fantasy app, and they were like, should the Lions franchise tag anybody? And they had a list of their pending free agents. This man tried to make a case for Grant Stewart. I said, who in the hell is what are they looking for? Yeah, I said, who in the hell is franchising special teamers? This man really tried to say that we need to franchise tag Grant Stewart. Stay off the weed. Howie Roseman is just more aggressive than Brad Holmes when it comes to getting talent on the roster. And that's a problem. That's a problem. You know what I mean? If the dude is just more aggressive than you and you don't feel like that you can compete and ever throw your name in the hat, realistically, because we've heard he picked up the phone for Max Crosby. He picked up the phone for Myles Garrett. He picked up the phone for this one and for that one and the other. That's what your job is. Your job is to pick up the phone. If you're not picking up the phone, you should be fired today. However, when you pick up the phone, at the end of the day, somebody needs to answer on the other end of the line. Somebody needs to do it. So I don't know. Yeah, that's the problem. We good, but we're not. Franchise tag Grant Stewart. Hell no, exactly. That's why I had you go and check out Inside the Den, because I feel like MCDC has more input than people think. Yeah. Look, once he said, yo, me and Dan, we were just so convicted about Broderick. I was like, what? What? What are we talking about? You should be convicted of a crime for drafting Broderick Martin. Why would anybody be convicted about Broderick Martin, especially in the third round? And didn't we trade up to draft Broderick Martin in the third round? This is crazy. The Lions don't franchise tag players. We don't really have anybody worth franchise tagging other than who? Anzo, maybe. Yeah, tag Stewart. That's what they do. I was like, oh, this is one of those Lions fans that don't know ball. You don't know ball at all. Exactly. Bargain Brad, reckless Brad. Hey, I'll take reckless Brad. But so Brad's been reckless in ways that are detrimental to the team. That's the problem. Brad is reckless with his third round picks. You know, Brad's the type of dude that'll waste 3 third round picks in the same draft. He just did it. You know what I'm saying? He just did it. Don't forget, MCDC said, and I quote, I hope it's not Broderick Martin that some other team wanted. Again, I didn't understand it, brother. I really, I'm trying to tell you. You know, I start looking at MCDC a little bit different. I'm like, hold on, Manu, was that you? Huh? Yeah, no. Either Dan Campbell's lying, or he really was enamored with damn Broderick Martin and Manu. And you know, now this Tesla thing was, oh, he was my favorite receiver in the draft, said Brad Holmes. Brother, it don't make no sense, man. You know, and that's why. And since I did, again, shout out to you, Mr. Morale 313. Since I did go back and look at that, I'm like, man, you know, Dan is not scot-free. He's not getting off scot-free either. We need a GM that's going to say forget them picks instead of a GM that says forget them third round picks. Yeah. If you're going to, you know, keep the same energy. Someone says, hey, Max Crosby is available. You go, okay, what you need? You need picks? You know, you need picks? You know, and speaking again, again, we have to understand this. Jack Campbell is a phenomenal player. He's the first team All-Pro. Christian Gonzalez was single-handedly keeping his team in the Super Bowl. Brad Holmes is a DB snob and was happy that Christian Gonzalez got drafted so that they could take Jack Campbell. I rest my case, man. I rest my case. You can't be a DB. You can't be a DB snob, and you can't draft DBs. I mean, you got Terrion Arnold. We'll see what Terrion is once he can, get through a whole season. His rookie season was up and down. He started to clean some things up towards the end of the season. He started out pretty good this season. Then he got injured. So we don't know. Again, if you guys have not seen it, what am I doing? What the heck happened here? Lost my chat. Okay, there we go. If you guys have not seen it, themockmachine.com. Go check it out over the weekend. In the Discord, there is a channel in there to report bugs and things of that nature. So you can report them in there, and I will check them out. But yeah, everybody enjoy your weekend. Don't do anything crazy. And hopefully we will see y'all on Monday. The Lions brass are the type of people who draft on potential, which is why no amount of talent will get you on this team that we all love. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace. See you Monday.